It goes without saying that I am utterly disappointed with the way that our season ended. It was bound to happen because going into the postseason, I bumped up the AI difficulty adjustment sliders. So if I go into I'll just go into the sliders right now just so you can see for yourself. So don't take any stock into where these sliders are. This is just how the sliders are when I load the game in. This isn't how we were playing. I'll actually move the AI sliders. So this is what we played on. So if I change these sliders, this is the slider settings I played the playoffs on. Superstar difficulty, AI learning at that value, difficulty adjustment at that value. That was the thing that we changed, and I maxed out the strategy adjustment. I played with these settings against Buffalo, and yes, we played 7 games against Buffalo. It was not easy to eliminate the Sabres, but I just ran into a wall against the Toronto Maple Leafs. I don't have any explanation other than this is the first time I've encountered an AI opponent that I think has just made strategic adjustments that had me dumbfounded. And honestly, throughout each of the 5 games, I made very little adjustments to my team strategy, which I think is going to be even more important against an AI at this level. And I didn't really alter the way that I played the game. I think I needed to play the game a little bit different. Maybe I needed to play a little bit calmer. I was way too... once the AI kind of grabbed those goals and grabbed those leads, it seemed like I lost my composure in some of the gameplays. It's interesting to look back at the gameplay and look at my raw reaction, but it seemed like when we lose a lead, I just did not have my composure. It was when we played Game 5 and I took the 2-goal lead in Game 5, I felt very relaxed in that exact moment, but then lo and behold, the Leafs came back and they eventually tied it and then took the lead. And there was just no getting the lead back at that point. The AI is good at this level. But this is the first time I have really struggled against the AI in a playoff round. So we gotta sim the rest of the season. We gotta find out who won the Stanley Cup. That's the first thing that we gotta do. We got a long off season ahead. We're gonna look at. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. That's Hamilton. So Hamilton is playing Toronto's. We're playing Toronto's AHL affiliate in the playoffs as well. And it's not going very well. It's not going well for Hamilton either. Should we simulate this? Let's just see how this postseason round goes since we're here. And there's a win, so we won Game 2 against the Toronto Marlies. And Hamilton takes a 3-0 victory to take a 2-1 series lead over the Marlies. So maybe the AHL squad can look at that, 1 game away from eliminating Toronto's AHL team, but we don't care about the AHL. Ooh, look at that. It looks like it's going to go to a Game 6. I got way too far ahead of myself. And did we lose already? Wow. This is going to a Game 7, so it looks like our AHL affiliate is just as I don't know what the word I'm looking for. It starts with a C, but they win. They do not choke the series away. And we are on to... I don't even know what round of the AHL playoffs this is. This would be the 3rd round of the AHL playoffs. How about that I'm just going to sim now past all this. Good news for our AHL team, at least. And that is it for our AHL team. They are eliminated, so now I can focus entirely on scouting and all that. Like I said, we got to take a look at stats and all kinds of things. I'm going to take care of the scouting business, and we will then look at the stats. And there it is, Season 2 Stanley Cup champions, the Washington Capitals. So the Toronto Maple Leafs did not win the Stanley Cup. They played the Washington Capitals in the Eastern Conference Final. The Syracuse Crunch take the Calder Cup. In the playoff tree, you can see it summarized. It was Washington over LA. Not really too unrealistic there. Washington around this time. Remember, we're 2 seasons deep into the GM mode now. At this point in time, Washington was very competitive and capable of making the Stanley Cup final. LA, of course, round about this time, made a Stanley Cup final in the real world, the western side of the bracket. Just to have it in the video and show it for you there on screen, it was LA over Dallas in the West final, the final 2 teams remaining in the West. In the East, obviously, it was Toronto and Washington. So we would have played the Washington Capitals if we didn't fall in 5 games to our arch nemesis, the Toronto Maple Leafs. But there's a nice recap there from the Season 2 playoffs and your Season 2 Stanley Cup champion, Washington Capitals. And now the awards, because I always forget to put this in the video sometimes. I forget to put this in the video sometimes. This is the awards winners, the Washington Capitals, the Stanley Cup. We've seen that already. The President's Trophy winners we knew was the Calgary Flames. They took the President's Trophy winner. The Calgary Flames, the Clarence S. Campbell Bowl to the LA Kings. I'm all over myself right now. The Prince of Wales, obviously, to Washington. Art Ross Trophy, Steven Stamkos. Hart Memorial, Steven Stamkos. James Norris, Tom Gilbert of the Minnesota Wild. That feels like a total random Norris Trophy winner. He had a hell of a season with Minnesota. Mike Ribeiro of the Tampa Bay Lightning takes the Lady Bing. There's no way. He takes back-to-back Lady Bing trophies as well. Jonathan Drouin, the Calder Memorial Trophy, obviously, with the Tampa Bay Lightning. Very nicely done there. Braden Holtby wins the Conn Smythe. Well, it's good to see that he could do what he failed to do with our Washington season mode. Win a Stanley Cup and a Conn Smythe Trophy. Vezina to Nico Hovinen of the Calgary Flames. Makes sense because they were the President's Trophy winners this year. The Jennings also to that Calgary Flames tandem, which there isn't another goaltender in there. The Hovinen must have played a chunk of the games for the Flames. I'm going to be interested to look at his stats. Stefan Robidas, the Bill Masterton Trophy of the Dallas Stars. The Selke to Datsuk, very well done there. Ted Lindsay to Datsuk as well. Maurice Richard to Alexander Ovechkin. Is there ever any doubt? Stanley Cup to Washoe. Quite the year for Ovi and the Capitals. They finally do get it done for Ovechkin in this game world. In the 14-15 season, a few seasons earlier than Ovechkin pulled it off in the real world. The real-life Stanley Cup final in 2015 was Tampa Bay versus Chicago. So sorted by all skaters by goals, the goal-scoring leader was obviously Ovechkin. He beat Stamkos by 1 goal, having played all 82 games. Down the list we go to see, your top 20, 30 in goal scoring. Of course, I'm curious to see, as always, where does Sidney Crosby fall on this list? But I believe I saw a Brad Marchand involved in this mix. There you go. Look at that. Marchand with a Habs logo beside his face. He had a 30-goal year. I believe he scored more goals than don't tell me Crosby had a way down year. Crosby, 24 goals, 76 points in 82 games. So he's almost point per game, but man, that goal scoring total is pretty far down. The points leaders, of course, Art Ross Trophy, Steven Stamkos, 97 points in 82 games. Nicely done to all of these gentlemen who were able to score more than point per game. As I will, again, show you roughly the top 20, 30 in points. The goaltenders, sorted by save percentage, but it's all about who played the most games. So Corey Crawford, we saw that it went to Hovinen. He won the Vezina Trophy. We know that for a certain fact. He played 61 games, had a 92.91 save percentage. Now, there's a lot of stats, obviously, to factor into winning a Vezina Trophy. I don't know how it's determined by the game, but in the real world, there's a lot of things to contemplate. Save percentage is just a small chunk of what goes into determining a Vezina Trophy winner. He had 37 wins, so you got to contemplate wins. Games played is a big one. I mean, he played 61 out of the team's 82 games. He had a 2.04 GAA. Now, these guys, Corey Crawford had a less GAA. Now, he played less games. He played 43 games. But he had a better save percentage at 93.81 save percentage. But anyway, there's your Vezina Trophy winning goaltender. I don't know where Carey Price would fall on this list. I think Price had a bit of a down year. There's Carey Price. He played 69 games. Nice. 2.44 GAA, 36 wins with 92.06 save percentage. And the final tally for your Montreal Canadiens in terms of offense produced from the forwards. The goal scoring leader, Brad Marchand with 30. Plekanec, Pacioretty down the list, all sorted by goals. This is what everyone did as far as goal scoring. Every forward that played a game for the Canadiens scored at least one goal this season. Nicely done. The point totals, Brad Marchand, we did not have anyone that was even close to point per game. That's got to be better from our offense, I would have to say. Duchesne and Marchand finished with equal points in similar games played. Marchand played one less game than Duchesne did. Pacioretty at 56, Plekanec at 55. So we kind of spread it all around. There's not any one dominant point producer on this squad. And this is by forward, so we'll see the defense in just a second, because I am curious about what PK Subban's numbers were. Brandon Pruss racked up the penalty minutes. Anyone heavily in the negative on plus minus? Yeah, we had Landon Ferraro, who played in how many games? 40 games, 74 games, 82 games for these guys down here at the bottom, and way in the negative. Gallagher in the negative. We didn't have Gallagher. That was one of the things that I wanted to touch on about our playoffs, by the way, is we were missing 4 guys in that round against the Maple Leafs. We didn't have Lars Eller. We didn't have Brendan Gallagher. He got injured. When did Brendan... He got injured in the Buffalo series. We didn't even have Gallagher for that series against Toronto. So we didn't... No Gallagher, no Eller, no... I can't think of LeBlanc. We didn't have my center, my third-line center. Could be a second-line center on this team. Louis LeBlanc. He was injured. There was one more player that we were missing for that round. Who else was it? We got, it was Chad LaRose. We got him back in time for Game 5, but not much of a difference did it make against the Maple Leafs. Anyway, that's the forwards. Let's get a look at the defensemen as far as goal scoring. Johnny Boychuk, who came over. I don't know if I pulled up Boychuk's stats at the time of the trade. Obviously, he came here in the trade with the Boston Bruins. 8 goals, 21 points this season, split between Boston and Montreal. Leopold played all 82 games with the Canadiens, 8 goals, 30 points. Georges with 5 and 29 points. Beaulieu with 5 goals, 19 points. Beaulieu is he's 22 years old, so he's still growing, still getting that experience. Another pivotal year for Nathan Beaulieu. Hopefully he can take that next step next season. I really need him to, because Georges is 30. Okay, so he's not as old. Leopold's, he's not coming back. I wanted to just bring him back for one more year. His contract is expiring in the offseason. We can easily move on from that. We just don't bring back Leopold. How much was I paying him? Because it was just in there. I was paying him 2.9, so that should come off the books. Boychuk, we've got decisions to make with Boychuk here. Because his contract's expiring, but did I see 31? Is that his age? 31 years old. 84 overall defenseman, still is 3.5 White Star potential, so maybe he shouldn't be dropping off yet. I can easily bring Boychuk back on a 1 or 2 year deal if he will accept it. But we've got decisions to make in the offseason. The big surprise to me, PK Subban, not a lot done offensively, but he was injured for half the season. He played 42 of the 82 games with 1 goal, 22 points, so he did get the assist there. But, you expect this guy to be putting the puck in the back of the net more. He did do a little bit of that in the playoffs because if I can find his playoff stats here, 4 goals in 12 games. He showed up when it mattered the most. It's just a shame that we didn't go further than the 2 rounds that we played, and we played 5 games in that second round. Koska, Strawman. Strawman was a call-up due to injury, so he's a minor league defenseman, 10 games played. The goaltending, we took a look at this, but I'll show all the stats. Brian Elliott getting into 19 games for the Canadiens. Had a rough year for Brian Elliott as a backup, but that's okay. I just need you to buy some time for Carey Price to get some rest. And, well, I can't really complain with the regular season that Price had. Now, I'm curious because the wheels fell off the wagon for Carey Price in the postseason, which is, I'm about to look at what his playoff stats were. He played in 12 games. And 5 wins, 6 losses. Wow, that's the problem right there. GAA climbed way up, and his save percentage an even 900. Not Carey Price, like numbers, but if you look at his playoffs here, I mean, he had a bad year there in 2012, 2013 as well, where he played in 4 games, so the Canadiens got swept that year. Anyway, I need Carey Price to be better next postseason. It felt like when we needed him to make a save the most in the games against the Maple Leafs, we just couldn't get one. It's not all on Price. I'm not saying that. But we definitely needed him to make quite a few extra saves in that series for us to have a chance. And there were too many soft goals that went in on Price. He's still young. He's 27 years old. We got him locked up for 4 more seasons at a very friendly contract as far as I'm concerned. So the sky is the limit for Price. I'm glad we've gotten him that Stanley Cup that he so deserves in Season 1. But there is more to be had with Price in the net for this Canadiens team. We've got an 88 overall goaltender. It should be more than enough to have deep playoff run after deep playoff run. We just got to build the team around the guy. And the salary cap information, just so I think it should be in one of the off-season videos from Season 2 as well. So we can see how the cap changes over the years. The maximum cap is 70.3. The salary cap floor is an even 50 million. I don't know how much the cap went up from last season, but it definitely went up as we will have more space to work with, and with contracts coming off the books, I will have money to play with, and we'll touch on that when we're done with the draft, because I have a lot of things to mull over when we get to the contracts negotiation stage. I forgot about retired players being a big deal. So retired players, Shane Doan finally calls it a career, and I salute that man. What a career for Shane Doan. I'm guessing in this world that he played all those games with Phoenix. 1,408 games played, 366 goals. Jerome Iginla calls it a career with Ottawa. Love that guy. Jerome Iginla, an all-time Calgary Flame. I know in this game and in the real world he played with other teams, but he is a Calgary Flames legend. Radek Dvorak, Zubras, Cullen, Koivu, St. Louis, Martin St. Louis teamed up with Iginla on the Senators, and I don't even think they made the playoffs. So they had the retirement home there in Ottawa. Sarich, Oland, Brewer, Bellinger, Kuba, just down the list we go. These are all guys that played very close to 1,000 games. Sean Horkoff finally retired. Pavel Datsyuk is done. He won a bunch of awards and called it quits after that. And down the list is very long still into Season 3's off-season. And the goalies, remember we got to check out the goaltenders. Martin Brodeur retires pretty close to when he did in real life, I believe, with 1,295 games played, 702 wins, 127 shutouts. Just a goaltending legend, Martin Brodeur. And for me personally, having watched Brodeur when I was a kid, one of my all-time favorite goalies ever. Mika Kiprasov retires with the Flames. Jaguar. And I just got a text message, so I'm going to have to check that out after I get done looking at the retirees. Oh, we got another Brodeur here. Mike Brodeur. I don't know if there's any relation to Martin Brodeur. The trading block. Okay, before we go into the draft, this is actually going to be interesting. I can edit my wants. I don't really care about what I want. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. I more want to put a player on the block. I'll keep my first round pick on the block, but the player that I'm thinking of putting on the block, I'm so confused. Why isn't this sorted? What is this sorted by? I don't even think this is sorted by anything. I may have already passed the name. I don't see. There he is. I'm putting him on the block. Thomas Plekanec, you're on the block. You are on the trade block. I just want to see what the AI are what I could potentially fetch. What would they throw me in a potential trade for Plekanec? Because, we do have a bit of a dilemma. We have... Just let me go over this for a second. I gotta find the name of the player because you can see his overall rating right here. LeBlanc is 85 now. Okay, he's 85 overall. I don't want to put him on the block. What is Plekanec? He's 80. He's 86 overall. LeBlanc is ready to take that second line role. And if Su-Kai Ming, this is what I was going to save this for the contracts negotiations, but I'm going to just bring it up right now. Su-Kai Ming is our center that we drafted last year. And if he just has a huge growth because he played down in junior for the season 2 simulation, if he grows going into the start of season 3, coming into training camp, he's ready. He's ready to be that third line center. We could have a 1-2-3 punch right down the middle with Duchesne, your first line center, LeBlanc, your second line center, Su-Kai Ming, third line center. We wouldn't need Plekanec. We could get either a wing or we could just get a stud. I think we need to get a defenseman. I do. I think we need to get a stud defenseman. Boychuk is good, but he's not our stud. We need a stud to play along with the stud that is PK Subban on that top pairing. So if we could, because we're going to be losing Jordan Leopold at some point in the future, we'll move on from Josh Georges. Hell, I'm going to put Georges on the block too. Let's just see if maybe, I'm not thrilled with Georges. Georges 86 overall though. It's going to be, it's going to be hard to find a top 4 defenseman. I want to, and he's got 4 years left. I want to keep Georges around for this season, but I'm going to put him on the block just to see what, again, the AI teams throw me. I just don't consider Georges to be that stud that we need. And I don't know, can I look at Georges? I don't know if I think he's a left shot. And we do need a left shot stud to play with Subban, if you get what I'm saying. So anyway, he's on the block, and I'm going to see what happens going into this draft. Okay, then we're going into the draft. They didn't welcome. The trade block says welcome Josh Georges. Yeah, and welcome to the trade block Thomas Plekanec, who I think we ran with 3 alternate captains. We would make a decision on the captaincy going into next season, or I may wait another season. But we're going to begin the entry draft. I'm not worried about captains. The first overall pick. This is the Connor McDavid draft year, by the way. And the first overall pick belongs to the Vancouver Canucks. So we have the 19th overall pick. Do we believe that there's an opportunity to grab a top 5 pick in this draft? I don't think so, but that's why I have 3 phones. I have 3 phones here. I got to do my due diligence and look into a possible trade. Okay, I looked, and the value just doesn't make sense for us to try to trade up. I was going to try to trade up from the 19th overall pick to the 15th with Vancouver, but we just, other than the draft pick itself, we don't have any assets that make sense from a value perspective. If I tried to trade up for the 15th overall pick with, say, Plekanec, it would be an overpayment with Plekanec's trade value. We'd be overpaying just to move up a few picks in the draft. We're going to hold on to the 19th overall pick, and Connor McDavid goes to the Vancouver Canucks. Ryan Precht, my created player, goes to the New York Islanders. Right off the board they go. We're going to draft at 19th overall. We're holding on to our spot because, it just doesn't make sense to move up. I don't think there's anything that we would have liked in the top 15 anyway. I don't think it would have mattered. But there's your draft order. McDavid to the Canucks in this alternate universe that we live in here, not the Edmonton Oilers. He's going to be, instead of McDavid terrorizing the Canucks, he will be on the Canucks terrorizing the Edmonton Oilers. How about that for a change? So I'm going to sort this by projected. I'm just kind of looking all skaters, all leagues. There's nothing by this point in the draft. Maybe you can get a little bit of a gem there in Nicky Petty. And this is one of those things where, what do we need? I think you would rather draft a forward than a defenseman for me, but I don't know. You can never have a stock of too many good defensemen, but if you can draft a really good center, I don't think there's a goaltender that makes sense either for us. Yeah, goaltenders wouldn't make sense until the next round. I got my eye on Justin Miles as a potential draft pick there as a goaltender, because you are going to need to have some good goaltenders in the future. We got Fucale, who has really decent trade value. I looked at it in that potential trade proposal, but his trade value, again, same thing with Fucale as Plekanec. Just his trade value is too high to just trade up a few places in the draft. I'd rather just move him in the future for better assets or something. Maybe we would trade him. But Fucale, maybe he's the goalie of the future when Price eventually retires. But remember, Price is 27 years old or something like that, entering Season 3. I'm just going to draft. I saw that guy, Nicky Petty. He is a center, and I kind of like that he's a center. He's got 2.5 green star. Is there a chance that he is better than that? I'm just going to take Petty. I think at this point in the draft, it really doesn't matter. We'll take the center. So Petty is off the board now, and I will pretty much... You know, I want to see if there's a goaltender. I'm going to skip the rest of that round, so the first round is there in front of you. I want to try to see if that goaltender is still available late here in the second round. And also, I'm going to shut down the phones. Maybe the AI approached me with a trade, but there is none made. We'll quick sim all the way to my pick. I don't know if that goaltender went off the board, but I'm tempted to just draft the goaltender because there's just nothing. Yeah, there's just nothing here. I'm going to take the goaltender if he's still there. Was it Miles? Miles Wapple, who re-entered the draft. He was available to be drafted. Miles is still there, and I'm going to take him. The WHL goaltender, Miles, off the board to the Canadiens, and now we can just auto-draft the rest of this thing. And with that, the Season 3 entry draft, wait a minute, H. Fleury. Is that Hayden Fleury, or is that just another player with the same last name and a first name that begins with a letter H? But the McDavid draft is completed. McDavid to the Vancouver Canucks. We took Potomac, Connolly there in the 5th round, Maroy. We didn't have a pick in the 3rd round, so it was a good thing I got my pick in there when I did. We took Miles, the goaltender, in the 2nd round. That was my pick, and of course Petty in the 1st round. So there's your entire Season 3 entry draft, just the names off the board. We got to take a look at McDavid in the contract screen, and Ryan Precht going to the Islanders. I created more players, but for some reason the game put them on some of the NHL teams before when we started the game mode. And I don't have as much of a re-sign job to do in this offseason as I did last year in Season 2, but we'll go to the contract screen now. So last year, the big order of business was the big contracts that we handed out to PK Subban and Matt Duchene. I've gone over this a few times, but we locked these guys up long term. You can see all the years that we gave these two players. Su Kai-Ming is NHL ready. 19 years old now. He's boosted up to a 72 overall. Still on that entry-level contract. It slid a season, so we'll get him at an entry-level deal of $8.825 million for 3 straight seasons, obviously on that ELC. And I'm going to have to believe that he's going to grow even more than that 72 overall says. I think he was high 60s when we went through last offseason, so he has grown. We'll have to look at the progress reports. Kohlberg, we got to sign. Who is this? Sebastian Kohlberg. He's 4.5 Red Star potential. 2012. Where did this guy just came out of nowhere. He's 60 overall at 21. He might grow. We're going to offer this guy a contract. Yeah, just pay attention and see what he becomes. I'm just going to go ahead and offer that contract to him. Nathan Beaulieu needs a new deal. So I'm just going to go ahead right in. I was going to save doing contracts for a later part, and I may split this into 2 parts in the videos. Oh, we're going to get Beaulieu at a deal. But that's, if I go, how many years? Ooh, I don't know if Beaulieu's really going to grow that much. See, 8 years. Do we get Beaulieu at 8 years at 1.725? I'm going to get Beaulieu 5 years at 1. I'm going to go 1.220 at 5 years. We'll see if Beaulieu accepts that. I gave him a lot of term. 5 years, a decent amount of term anyway, as a 22-year-old. I don't know if he's going to grow a lot. I really don't, but that would be fine. He can be a good mid-pairing defenseman of the future, maybe. And it's just a shame that it seems like he may not grow. Gallagher needs a new contract as well. Same thing with Gallagher. Gallagher could be a good third-line player of the future, and we'll do the same thing. See, if I go 8 years, his contract value doesn't go up a whole lot. His asking price doesn't. But that's okay. We'll go with the same thing with Gallagher. We'll go we'll probably go 2.1 million with Gallagher at 5 years. I mean, this is going to be saving me some money. Now, I got to pay attention to my salary cap space. I got to pay attention to make sure I don't chew up too much cap space offering these contracts. They obviously have to sign the deal first. But as of now, I have 14.4 million. So this is what I hate about contracts, is this does require me to have a bit of brain power to get through this. LeBlanc locked up for 2 more seasons at that contract value. He's going to get paid. He's going to get a big payday in the future. He'll be a player that will pay off for us. Draisaitl, I don't know, is quite ready for that ELC. He may never reach that stage of things where he may not grow to get an ELC. We'll see. We'll have to monitor Leon Draisaitl in the future. Lehkonen will just tender that offer because you're 55 overall at 19 years old. Landon Ferraro is a tender the qualifying offer. If he doesn't accept my offer, that's okay. It's just a good AHL depth option. I'm fine with bringing him back for 1 more year. Morgan Ellis, same thing, AHL. I'll just tender these offers. Oh, all right, here we go. Now we got decisions to make. LaRose, I gave you that 1 extra year for winning the Stanley Cup for us, but he's gone. Boychuk, we got a tough one to make. We got a tough call to make here. Oh, 4.425 is a lot. 3 years isn't terrible because that takes him to about 34 years of age. We made the deal for him. I want to keep him around. I do want to keep Johnny Boychuk around. I do want to kind of build a decor that involves Boychuk, but I want to save a little bit of money. So I'm going to go down to like I'm going to see if I can go down to 4.1110 for 3 years. I'll give him the term is fine with me. The money value, a little high, but what are you going to do? I'm going to see if Boychuk likes that. And, I mean, we can always come back to the table with a different offer if he doesn't like it. Jordan Decourt, no. So we would have Price and Elliott again. Montoya and Budai waiting on Fucali to grow. Okay. Boychuk renewed it. He liked that. Very well, then. I just got to pay attention to my cap space, which that one contract to Boychuk is going to eat into my cap space a little bit. But I think most of these guys made easy decisions to renew. I mean, we got Gallagher back. Fucali signs. We had to sign him because he was going to be a UFA, and he's got that potential on him. His overall rating is not there, but he's a goalie, and he's just 20 years old. There's a lot of time for him to really grow. I mean, he may not become a starting goaltender, but that's fine. I mean, he could just be a backup of the future, or just kind of that goalie that's in between backup and starter. He could be something of the future. I had to get Fucali signed. He decided to agree to the entry-level deal. Obviously, I don't think we're really waiting on anyone because the big contract that I had to be concerned with was Boychuk. We got that signed with still a 7.865 in cap space. I want to do 2 things. I need to look at my roster before we go into free agency, which this is just contracts, and I'm only interested in this recording session, which has been going for about an hour now. And editing this down, it will not be a full hour, but in going for an hour now, I just want to save the free agency negotiations for another recording session, probably tomorrow, and then I will blend it all into one video or something like that. But I need to look at my roster and see what my roster is comprised of before we go into free agency. And then I need to see what our needs are. And I need to monitor the cap space. And the other thing that I want to try is another offer sheet if there is one on the table. Maybe a trade. Georges and Plekanec should still be on the trade blocks, but I haven't been confronted about a potential trade yet. Now, I mean, it's late June in the game. Now I gotta look at the contracts. Is that all my contract worries taken care of? I want to believe it is. I don't think there's much of anything pending. So these are all the UFAs. Leopold not coming back. LaRose, you're gone. Weber is gone. I'm moving on from Yannick Weber. Dustin Jeffrey, I can get a spare, forward in free agency for on the cheap, and I think he's asking for a little bit too much money. In my personal opinion. Anybody else? Yeah, I don't think we're waiting on anyone else. We're going to wait on Draisaitl and see if he continues to grow, but it's just not time to offer Leon Draisaitl a contract. So that's it. That's all my contract negotiations that I needed to worry about. Oh, yeah, there's some more guys that are coming back to me. Natanen, Holland. It's just all guys for the AHL that were tendered new contracts, and they all agreed to my contract offers. So now we can go into free agency. What happened with Patrick Kane? There's a thing right there that said something about Patrick Kane. We're now going into day one of the free agency, so at some point this will be the end of the recording session and maybe the end of the video for me. I know how all of that works. Why? I made good contract negotiations in the offseason and you take my phone away. Landon Ferraro accepted. Lehkonen accepted. Let me go back to my trade block just to make sure that what? Who put Sukai Ming on the all this game? Absolutely eat a dick. I mean, you're gonna put Sukai Ming on the trade block when you have... Oh my god, I am upset. It should be Plekanec on the block, and they put Peter Budaj on the block. That's my AHL goaltender. I don't care about him being on the block. I want to find Georges. I thought I locked all this stuff in. This game pisses me off. I locked all this stuff in. No wonder I wasn't getting any trade offers. The game went and changed my trade block. There you go, Josh Georges. Now, how do I accept changes? I want to commit to the changes on the trade block. All right, I'm getting into tizzy. Patrick Kane is testing the free agent market as the Hawks did not re-sign him, and we have 7.715 available in space. I definitely need to sign this guy, and then, oh my god. We got a chance. We got to do it. It's the big fish free agent, a prime Patrick Kane. This could absolutely help us get over the hump with the Toronto Maple Leafs. Now, I got a question as well. Did the Leafs let Lupul go to free agency by any chance? Because, I mean, if Joffrey Lupul is a free agent at any point in this game, I am snatching up Joffrey Lupul. But no, he is not here on the free agent board. I don't know what his contract situation is with the Leafs. I was just curious, if by any chance he ended up in free agency. But, I can one-up Joffrey Lupul with Patrick Kane. And you know what? I'm going to do it. But I got to do my due diligence and look at, affordable. And Patrick Kane is obviously affordable because I have the cap space for that, barely. But if we move Georges out and we move Plekanec out, we've got Sukai Ming coming up on that entry-level deal that saves us some money. I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm sorting the wrong thing. How do I find RFAs? Restricted free agents. So there's just nothing on the... No. There is absolutely zilch on the RFA market. So that's fine with me. We're going to do it. We're going to see if we can pry Patrick Kane away. Oh, Detroit would be interested in Patrick Kane. They were in the real world and they got him. So... You know what? I have the cap space. What did I have in cap space? Does it tell me on this screen? Available cap for the player, 7.715. It's right in front of you, Vince. So I can go a full 7 million. We can go a full... I gotta leave some cap space, though. I gotta leave a little bit. I'm gonna go a little beyond Kane's asking price of I'm gonna go close to 7.1. 7.1 even, 7 years. I can't give him 8 because we don't have his rights, but we can give him the 7 years at 7. I mean, I gotta do this. I gotta try. And if we have to move pieces out in order to get Patrick Kane. Kane with Duchesne and Marchand. Could you imagine what kind of ass this team could tear up with Patrick Kane on it? I mean, after the loss to the Leafs, I'm steamed right now. I want to get revenge on the Maple Leafs. I want to meet them in the playoffs and absolutely destroy with a prime Patrick Kane. I am so motivated after losing that playoff series. And I imagine the Habs fans that are watching this video are too. Like, how can you lose to the Maple Leafs? So we're going to do it. I'm putting in my name into the hat for Patrick Kane. There's now 2 teams interested in Patrick Kane. What are you going to do about it? I said that we needed that beast defenseman. There's no beast defenseman on the free agent market unless you can package Georges and Plekanec to get a stud defenseman. That's kind of my thinking as well. Maybe we get another stud defenseman by packaging those 2 in a deal. There's a lot of things on the table for the Canadiens at this moment. So obviously, Kane is not going to be an immediate... No! Canadiens have made room in their cap to express interest in right winger Patrick Kane. You bet your sweet cheeks we did. He's going to be taking his time. Now I can go... Oh, no. Patrick Kane has options. Coyotes are now interested. We got to see who is in on this bidding war? I'm sorry, that's the wrong thing. Who's in on this bidding war for Patrick Kane? There are 4 teams interested. Now, can I look? I can come back to the table, but if I click on this, it'll tell me Dallas, Detroit, Montreal, and Phoenix all in a bidding war for the services of Patrick Kane. I'm not going to give him a new offer. I'm just going to stick with the offer that I gave to Patrick Kane and believe it's going to stick. No! Oh, that is the dick punch of the week right there. Patrick Kane, he's decided to sign elsewhere. Now, should we take a guess? I'm going to guess. I think he signed with Detroit. There were 4 teams in the lot. For Kaner, I think he signed in Detroit. Wait, didn't he sign with Colorado at the beginning of this offseason? No. Was that the Flames GM mode? I'm probably getting the Flames GM mode mixed up. But Kane is... Where did he sign? The Coyotes. Oh, there's a trade that went down on 6/23. Markov acquired by Winnipeg from New Jersey for a few players there. Free agent acquisitions. Why are we on Winnipeg? We're supposed to be on all teams. There we go. Free agent acquisitions. Patrick Kane's 7-year deal with the Phoenix Coyotes. Why the Coyotes? Why? Of all the teams that you could have negotiated in. So, we missed out on the stud winger. We're going to have to maybe make a deal to... I have mixed emotions right now. So the best way for me to go about this is just to pull up the contract screen because I can't view lines at this moment in time. But, up front... We have Pacioretty for the time being. Duchesne. Plekanec for the time being is a hab. With this being his final year on his deal as a 32-year-old. I think we got to trade Plekanec. It's just, I think we got to do it. And instead of upgrading the forward core, because I'm just banking on Su Kai Ming being my third-line center or something of that nature, maybe even fourth-line center for this season, it would be fine with me. But I say we turn Plekanec into a stud defenseman. Package him and a draft pick if we have to get a stud defenseman. We still got Georges up on the back end, but I'm looking to trade Georges as well. Maybe we move Georges out to get something. I just don't know. Eller, Marchand. So our top 6, I should just do this by forwards, right? Top 6, Pacioretty, Duchesne, and Marchand. That's my first line. My second line is Plekanec, Eller, and Eller can play center too, but he's going to be playing the wing with Plekanec down the middle. Anyway, my point is your second line, Plekanec with Eller with Gallagher, probably. That could be upgraded though. We definitely need that. We need that better. We need a stud in our top 6, and I'm going to have to go up and down my roster. I should go down my roster now, actually. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 with Prust, 9, 10. Oh, we needed to... our bottom 6 is going to have some high 70 overall players. Overall rating isn't the end-all, be-all of everything. So we're just going to probably have to live with a weak 4th line. Unless I can go get something in free agency. I still got cap space to play with. On the back end is where I want to look at things. Back end-wise, we have... Georges, Subban, Boychuk, Beaulieu. If we can keep Georges, trade Plekanec, get a stud defenseman, I feel better about this decor. I gotta go into... I wasted all that time thinking Patrick Kane would sign. Look how many days I simmed. I simmed a whole week in the free agency. And there may not be anything. There is nothing on the free agent list anymore. There's maybe Bobby Sanguinetti. Could probably play on our third pair. Because, how old is Sang? He's 27. I'll give him a couple of million. I'll bump that value up. Hopefully Sanguinetti signs. We're the only team that's interested in Sanguinetti's services. But see, now I've wasted all that time thinking that Kane would sign here. There's just nothing on the free agent pool to choose from. But I'll give Sanguinetti that contract offer. Because we definitely need to bolster our decor. And that's the only thing that I'm hanging on as far as free agency goes. Maybe I'll get a trade offer from the CPU team. I got to look at my trade block as soon as I hear back from Sanguinetti. Come on. Nobody is, and he accepts, nobody was going to come to you for a contract. So that adds Bobby Sanguinetti to the roster. I want to look at my cap space now with Sanguinetti. That takes us down to 6.7. So that takes a full $1 million of cap space away for me, but that's fine. It's not the end of the world. And if we look at the decor with Sanguinetti on it, sorted by overall rating, that it makes our decor look a lot prettier. It's just I think we really need that stud to play with Subban, and I don't think Georges is the stud. I think you look at it, the way that I look at it defensively is Subban on the top pair with a legit elite stud defenseman to play next to him. Preferably a left shot because Subban's a right shot. Georges is on the second pair with Johnny Boychuk, and Georges is a left shot D. Left shot D works perfect along with Boychuk on the second pair, and then you can have Nathan Beaulieu with Sanguinetti for your third pairing. So I may try to make a trade before the season starts, but let me check my trade block. I wish there was a button I could do to do a shortcut to get to the trade block. But I want to make sure that my players are still on the block, and what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna sim through the offseason and see if I get trade offers from the CPU before we get into, the preseason action and get into September. So we'll see if the CPU offers me anything before preseason as we get toward training camp. Oh, I turned off GM firing, and this is the final year of my contract. By the way, I didn't get any trade proposals, and I got to do the scouting assignment. Well, I have two interesting decisions to make. We went through the preseason. I'm ahead of the season opening game against Florida on the road. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to leave this here. I'm going to just make this a video. I'm going to leave it here. I'll upload and maybe wait a day or two before I simulate through the season and begin the season sim. My thoughts are we've gotten nothing in terms of a trade proposal. We could take this team as it stands without any trades, with Plekanec and Georges on the roster into the regular season, or we could make a trade before we even begin the season to bolster our decor by moving Plekanec specifically. So we just specifically go propose a trade to another team to move Tomasz Plekanec. I got to take a look at the very minimum, before I close the video off, before I stop recording, we got to look at progress reports, and I want to see what the modifiers are on a bunch of these players. So quite a few things changed with some of these players with Gallagher, Subban. It looks like everything was a negative change, so a change for the negative, not what the Canadiens need. Moen, I don't care. You're just an AHL guy. Gallagher, he had statistical fall off, so I'm guessing that this is just because he had a bad season statistically last year, and he went from an 82 to an 81. Pretty rough. Subban dropping from an 88 to an 86 is not what the Canadiens need entering a crucial season 3. I mean, so many statistical growth attributes modified. Same thing with Boychuk. It knocks Boychuk from an 85 down to an 84. I guess we could have seen all this in the offseason in the contract screen, that some of these players, their overall ratings dropped off. Brandon Prust, I just need you to be a heavy third-line checking forward just like that. Derek England is going to stick around for another season with this team as a 78 overall at 33 years old, but I can't look at the contracts from here and how long we have England locked up on that deal for, but I mean, it's obvious to me that we're going to move on from Derek England. I'll buy out the contract if I have to for next season. I don't need England sticking around on this team beyond this. So it looks like there's no Sukai Ming here, but obviously this is preseason. The rosters are kind of all over the place, and I haven't sorted everything out. Oh no. Did Sukai Ming? I bet you Sukai Ming may not be. He may have gone back to junior. He may have gone back to junior. I'm screwed if he went back to junior. He went back to junior. And I can't do anything about it, can I? He went back to junior for another season. Because he can't play in the AHL because he's 19. He's not old enough to play in the AHL, but I wanted him on the NHL squad, but I don't know if there was a way to do that. That really sucks. I was kind of banking on this. May be this may not be the year to try. This may be a year where we just simulate as it is and just cut our losses I think we cut our losses for this season and try to tank to get a good draft pick. and look forward to next year with Sukai Ming joining the fold. I don't think we try to trade. I think we move Plekanec at the deadline is more what I'm thinking. Maybe move Plekanec at the deadline. See where teams are in the standings by the deadline. If we're out of a playoff spot anyway, and then just try to get a good draft pick or a good prospect for Thomas Plekanec and as well as George's. But that's if this team is not a playoff team. That's kind of my thought now. Now that I know that Sukai Ming will not be a part of the roster, and we can take a look at what the lines look like in preseason. Keep in mind, these are preseason lines that we're about to look at here. But I mean, what? Did we see this already? That was LeBlanc in 87 overall? He's as good as Duchesne. What the hell? Okay, this top 6 is not too shabby. I mean, you could honestly, you could move Ryan White to, or somebody could play. We need to get a third line center. You could play Lars Eller in that top 6 along with LeBlanc and Plekanec. And you could move Plekanec to play third line center, and maybe you just kind of have somebody on the wing. Let me think about this. I wish Gallagher was better than an 81 overall. Now again, I said this. Overall rating isn't the end-all be-all of everything, right? I mean, there's a lot of stats and attributes that affect the player's ability to perform in this game. But this LeBlanc being an 87 is a pleasant surprise. What are we going to do with Sukai Ming? I mean, it's crazy. The game had LeBlanc on the block, and that almost kind of to me, it doesn't really make it kind of makes sense, but it doesn't make sense. If you know what I mean, like it would make more sense to trade Plekanec because he's the older player, and you just would rather move on from Plekanec to open that spot up for LeBlanc. But then you're gonna have Sukai Ming coming right behind LeBlanc, and then who are you gonna play in your top 6? So we got a good problem to have at center, but I've got things to figure out. I think we just ride out the year with Plekanec, see where we are at the deadline, and then maybe we trade Plekanec at the deadline and Josh Georges as well at the deadline. Because right now Georges is your first pairing guy, and that D-core outside of Boychuk, Subban, and Georges, other than those 3 players, it's a rough D-core. I mean, Nathan Beaulieu is, I want to like the player, but he's just an 80 overall, and he didn't really grow or anything. And we looked at in the contract screen that when I gave him more years, his contract value really didn't go up, which is not a good sign for Nathan Beaulieu's potential growth, even as a 4 gold star potential player. So yeah, we got decisions to make, and I just want to leave the video right here. I don't want to do anything else, actually. I want to leave it right here, but my personal thoughts, and you can let me know if you agree with this or not before I shut this recording off and end the video. I believe we should just simulate the whole season and up to the deadline and just revisit all of our trade potential at the deadline. Now, I'm going to keep the trade block the same way that it is, just in case the CPU teams have a good offer for me, but I just think this is a down year. I am going to just cut this season as a loss. I'm sorry, I got a frog in my throat right now, but not a literal frog. But I say that we cut the season as a loss, and maybe by some miracle this team is in a playoff position by the deadline. And that's the end of the video for me from here.